Good morning, everybody. Or at least it's morning for me. I'm not sure. Maybe it's not morning for you. Maybe it's nighttime. In that case, good night, everybody. I got free again, and I found another computer. You really got to lock these things up. But I'm not complaining. Anyways, what we're gonna do today, since I'm free and we're all here, might as well kind of pick up where we left off. Pick off where we left up. Yeah, yeah, you get it. Um, we're gonna get to making things pretty. We're going to customize and set some settings today and make the system start to act and look the way that we want it to. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and do this little thing called a snapshot. And basically what this is going to do is this is going to take a backup, like a little picture of our system the way it is currently. That way, moving forward, if we end up messing something up, we can easily just go back like nothing happened. So what you're going to go ahead and do is click Create New Snapshot, and I want you to label this one Initial. And you can put a description if you want to. I usually don't with the initial one because we installed and we did a couple things with UFW and we installed fail to ban. That's basically it. Moving forward, what we're going to do is after we've finished a substantial section and we want to save our progress because we're happy with it, we're going to be making snapshots named with decent descriptions pertaining to what we have accomplished in between taking the snapshot and the previous snapshot. That way, moving forward, we can easily go down our little list here that will get populated and be able to go back to exact points in time and know where we're going back to. But for this initial one, we know we're back at the start. We know there's nothing. We know that it's just a base install. That anything before this point is completely starting from scratch anyways. So go ahead and just create the snapshot. Right now the machine is off. You have to, if you're getting an error message and your machine is running right now, shut it off first. You cannot take a snapshot while the machine is running. Ask me how I know. I didn't just get done doing that and being like, why am I getting an error? Rah, rah, rah. It happens. So now that we've taken a snapshot and we have our progress saved, we're going to go ahead and start up our machine. And we'll go ahead and throw it in full screen here. You don't have to throw yours in full screen. I prefer to run mine in full screen, especially once we get into Hyperland, just because it's easier to read the text. And initially, until you do some customization, some of the text is a little bit small, in my opinion, on Hyperland. But we're going to go ahead and log in here. Let our desktop environment get loaded up. There's our desktop. All right. So the first thing that I want to showcase is setting your power settings. So down here at the bottom, click on energy saving. And the reason I like to do this is because a lot of times I'll get doing something and then I'll take a quick minute, maybe go grab a drink, go use the restroom, what have you, and in that time the system has locked itself up, shut the screen off, and I have to unlock it to get back to doing what I'm doing. And depending on the situation, that can impede my workflow. So I like to go ahead and send the suspend to do nothing, which it's already set for that. That must be a VM thing. When button is pressed, show logout screen. We don't have a button, so I'm just going to go ahead and do nothing. That way, if anything does so happen to try and call that, it's just not going to be able to. Going to go ahead and turn all this off because we do not need to have anything happening here for this VM. We want it to just stay going. So go ahead and click that. That's all set and dandy. Now, just because it's easier to get to for me than to try and remember which menu it's under, I'm going to type in screen, and then that's going to bring up the ability to click on screen locking. Apparently, screen locking has its own specific menu placement now. Well, that's fancy. I like that. Lock screen automatically after 5 minutes. No, thank you. Normally I would leave this on because with the way we've set our settings, the only way to put the computer to sleep is to manually do so. But since this is a VM, I'm going to go ahead and tick this off. And the rest of this is fine. And it should be said that you can feel free to set these settings to whatever is best for you. This is your system after all. I am just showing you the process in the order of which I would do these things. So you do not need to copy me, although if you would like to, feel free. No issues with that whatsoever. Now, the next thing I want to showcase before we get into the nitty-gritty here is I want to show you how to do a system update, because you should do that often. We're going to go ahead and type sudo, and then you're going to do your hyphen capital S like you're going to download or install something. Then you're just going to go ahead and put a Y directly after that. And that's it. Go ahead and hit enter. Yep. So you're going to need Pac-Man there. Got to put in stuff correctly. If you don't type stuff correctly, funny enough, the command doesn't work. So go ahead and type sudo pacman hyphen capital S lowercase y. And then it's going to ask for our password. Type in your password here. And that just synced up with the database. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do an SYU. And this is going to do the same exact thing, except it's going to also upgrade the system. You should get in the habit of, before you install a program, go ahead and do -sy, and that will refresh and reconnect, make sure you've got the fresh links to everything. That way you're getting the most recent install of whatever you're trying to install, and then throw the U afterwards, and that will go ahead and update your entire system. And look at that. Some things have some updates. So we'll let that update, and it shouldn't take too long here, so we'll just kind of stick here and wait for it to go. Then after we have the system fully updated, we'll go ahead and start doing our customizations. And things are starting to speed right by now. Look at that. Almost done here. If you see anywhere where it says possible missing firmware, usually you don't have to worry about that. If there's a problem, it will actually tell you. That's just a generic warning message because it probably something lists for that, but it doesn't actually require it. Anyways, getting too involved. That's all done, and now our system is fully updated. We can go ahead and exit our terminal now. By the way, I realize I didn't explain how I opened that terminal just then. To open up the terminal on KDE, it's Control-Alt-T. If you didn't know that, I apologize. Now you do. So now that the system is updated, we're going to go ahead and open up our settings again, and we're going to go ahead and click right here where it says more settings, more appearance settings. Sorry. First thing I'm going to do, because I just can't stand looking at a white screen, is I'm going to go ahead and click on this breeze dark, and I'm going to hit apply. And that's just going to bring us into dark mode here, which is much easier on the eyeball. Then we're going to go down the list here. We're going to click on colors. Now, right now, there's these generic ones that come with the operating system. We got Oxygen Cold, Oxygen, Breeze Light, and the regular Breeze Classic and Dark. You can also go ahead and come up here and get new if you would like. For instance, this sweet KDE. I kind of like the look of that, so we can go ahead and install that here. We can kind of go down the list here and take a look. Take your time, pause the video, and really kind of, you know, like you want to enjoy this system. This is your system. This is, you know, you're going to be looking at this, although you don't necessarily have to stop just today. You can, you know, come back and do this every single day and have a completely new system every day. I'm going to go ahead and stop here, and I'm just going to go ahead and check out the ones that I just went through right now, because there was a few there that I liked. Now I'm going to go ahead and try this sweet one out and see how this looks. Now that's got more of a little bit of a purplish tinge to it on the back of the window here than I thought. It's kind of like a purple gray almost. Like a plum. Not so sure I like that as much as I thought I would. So let me go ahead and try this amber blue here. Yeah, see, I'm liking the black back a lot better than the plum back. I think I'm going to go ahead and stick with that one, if I'm being honest. But I did get this one as well, so let's try this one before I say that. Yeah, see, this is more of a gray blue, so like a dark teal, which I don't mind, but I like this sweet amber blue a lot better. And if you notice up here at the top, you can either get accent color from your color scheme, or you can specify your own accent color, which I'm a fan of green, so I'm going to go ahead and set a green accent color. There we go. I like that a little bit better. It's already starting to look a lot better for me. Look at that. Now, nightlight, I tend to not mess with as far as this goes. If you use one nightlight, you've pretty much used them all. So go ahead, if you want to set this up, pause the video here and set this up to your liking. I'm going to go ahead and move along myself. So application style. This is basically like what your, like if you have a tab, kind of what that's going to look like, your checkboxes, your radial buttons, your sliders. Say if we click on oxygen here, you can notice that things change and things have more of an ovally, a rounded effect to them. You can also come up here. I thought you could get new. You can. So if you click these three dots up here to bring down the hamburger menu, you got this one option here. Go ahead and click that, and you can click down here to get new, and this should bring up another menu, and you can go ahead and same thing. Pause this video and just scroll down the menu and find things that look interesting to you. Like, you know, here you can see that this specific one is really accenting the close, minimize, and maximize buttons. And, you know, there'll be different themes that change different things, and some will go more extreme than others. So scroll down the list, find what you like, and then come back. So far, I'm honestly not seeing a whole lot that I'm liking. I did see one. Where was it? It was right here. This Obsidian 2 one. I like the way the buttons look on here, so I'm going to go ahead and, ooh, they have different colors too, so I'm going to go ahead and choose the green one. And that should be installing. Hopefully. I should be able to see that here, and it did not install. Okay, let me try that again. Green, install. Okay, now it installed. So now I should be able to... Interesting. Oh, it might be on the previous menu. No, interesting. I'm not sure why that's not working. That should show up under here. Interesting. I have done this before and it did work. I'm not sure what is going on now. This may be because we're in a VM. I apologize. That should show up here. Not sure why that's not working at the moment. I will have to look into that, and if there is something we can do about that, I will come back to it. I apologize for that. Moving along for now, I'm going to go ahead and click on Plasma Style. And here is a lot like, you know, the same, except this is the actual... So, for instance, if you look at the taskbar down here, that's under Breeze currently. If I switch it to Oxygen, you're going to notice it takes on a huge difference. It's got more of a shiny effect, it's more rounded, and it changed the style of our application menu. Excuse me, sorry. But we can also get new ones of these as well. And I know of one that I prefer. I'm going to go ahead and search for that now. Oops. You don't have to... Oh, I cannot type today. You do not have to use this one if you don't want to. Oh no! Did they remove it? Interesting. Well, I can't find the one that I had liked. I wonder if they couldn't port it to KDE 6. Huh. Okay. Let me try something else then. Yeah, so they have Jade. Okay, I like Jade. See, there doesn't seem to be any difference between these two. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so they have the amber blue for plasma style. Okay, I'm gonna stick with those. So let's see what the jade looks like here. Okay, so the jade is very subtle. Ooh, I like that. Okay, the jade is very subtle. Let's see what the sweet amber blue looks like. Okay, that's very round. I do not like that. I do not like. I like that Jade. We're gonna go ahead and stick with Jade. Okay. And you know, I wonder, what does this? No. Nope. Don't wonder. Don't ever wonder. Don't second guess yourself. No, that's horrible. Wonder. It is great to wonder. Okay, so that's our plasma style. Window decorations. Um, you can if you want to. I don't mind the oxygen one. I find others to be a bit drastic. The nothing one isn't bad. But yeah, no, I find that they're distracting, to be honest. I mean, I don't mind the subtle blue, but some of the window decorations can get a little bit extreme. And I find that just to be too distracting for me. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave it on the default oxygen and move on to icons. Now, icons, I have a set that I like, and I'm going to be sad if I say that a second time and they're not here. Yay! Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and install these from Baphomet. I butchered that name, I'm sure. I know. I apologize. I do my best. Okay, we're going to go ahead and apply. Ooh, that did apply. Yes, that applied. And I love it. I don't know. This is looking great to me. I'm enjoying this. This is simple too. A lot easier than it used to be. Now, I'm also a sucker for the oxygen black. But there are a lot of good options. So if you click on the hamburger menu again, you can click on get new. And again, there's KDE is so customizable. I love it. I know GNOME's very customizable as well, but I, for whatever reason, I've been enjoying KDE. I can't help it. I keep going back. They're only red and blue though. I wish there was a green one, because that's pretty nifty. But like I said, I'm a fan of the Oxygen Black. There's a lot of cool designs. I have used many of these in the past. But I'm gonna go ahead and stick with the Oxygen Black. And then moving along from there, we have system sounds. Now, I know you can import your own, but there isn't like a little menu here where you can do that easily. For now, I do like the ocean sounds. You can go ahead and click on all of these. Oh, free desktop is missing a sound for the low battery. I wonder if that's because it didn't install because we're on a VM. Interesting. Oh, it installed. Installed for the rest. That's interesting. I wonder what that's about. But I personally, I like the ocean, so that's default. I leave it at that. Splash screens. This is where it gets starts to get fun. So this is where you initially start seeing your system. This is second view basically that you get after the login. Like the login screen would be number 1, this would be number 2. I personally, I like the simple arch blue KDE. The kitty's really cute though too. Churro the cat. You know, there's a bunch of these. People have made specific operating system ones, videos. People have made their own just custom ones. Another cute kitty. Seriously, like there's so many, and people do such a good job, and there's some beautiful splash screens. So I would suggest, again, taking your time and going through that menu and picking out one that you really like. I really like the Arch Simple Blue, so I'm going to go ahead and apply that. And then I'm going to move along to the login screen. And here is, yep, we can do the same thing. In the hamburger menu, we can go ahead and click New. And now I'm remembering. Yes, okay. So the sugar candy that's been stuck in my head this entire video is the login screen. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. Now we need to enter in our password for this to actually be able to install because of the permissions around the actual login manager. But after that's installed and you've picked the one that you like, I'm going to go ahead and leave this window up, and I'm going to open up a web browser real quick, because the next thing I'm going to do, and I hate Falcon, but we're going to get to this in a second here, is I'm going to go ahead and pick a background. Now this looks really cool, and because I chose sugar, which had the login information on the left hand side, this picture is going to go really well with my login screen. Now, where is save image? Okay. I do not use Falcon, and it shows. So I'm going to go ahead and save that under pictures. The name is fine. Download finished. So then I'm going to go ahead and bring back up my appearance menu here. And under sugar candy, I'm going to change the background because I don't like the original. I click load from file, going to go under pictures, and I'm just going to go ahead and click that. And now that background is set underneath sugar candy. And I'm going to go ahead and apply this. I need to, enter in the correct password. And now my login screen has been set. Now, there is another menu you can download, you can get new ones, but these, they don't, for whatever reason. I'm not sure why, I haven't looked into it, but they're not going to load. Our system does not have that, so you can install it, but it's not going to apply. Sorry, but that's what that is at the moment. And we're going to go ahead and do the next step. Okay. So, because this is the worst web browser ever, we're going to go ahead and learn how to install Yay. And I love its FOSS. I'll be putting the link in the description of the video down below, and I did with the previous video as well. They've got some good information. Not all of it, so you have to make sure that you look at the date and make sure that what you're reading is still relevant. But its FOSS is definitely one of the more reliable sources when it comes to needing syntax. So it is never a good idea to do this. Just popped in my head. Figured I'd tell you now. Don't highlight, don't copy, don't paste. People can hide code and so when you copy and paste, there's more than what's seen, and it will run in the background and you will have no idea. So we're going to run this, but don't go to this link, copy paste, type it out. So we're going to go ahead and open up a terminal here. We're going to go ahead and sudo pacman-s. Now the dash needed, what this is going to do is if something is already installed on our system, it's going to skip over it and not reinstall. So if you go ahead and do base devil and git, what you're going to see is you need to enter your password, and then we should already have base devil, so it should only be pulling git. And there it is. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make directory, capital O, PT. You can name this something else if you want to. Basically, packages that I'm going to be installing manually, I'm going to be putting in this package. So that's going to be anything that I install from like Git or from source. Going to be putting in this directory. So I'm going to make that directory, and then I'm going to go ahead and cd into that directory. Then I'm going to git clone. Do not sudo this. Never sudo a git clone. If you go to a GitHub page and it tells you to sudo the git clone, they either are tired and don't realize what they're typing, they are not intelligent and they don't realize what they're typing, or they're very intelligent and they're not nice and they realize what they're typing. Either way, don't sudo a git clone. So go ahead and git clone the yay arch repository. And that's just warning that we're using a master branch. That's nothing that you need to worry about. That is what they have set up on Yay at the moment. So now we're going to go ahead and cd into Yay. And then it's going to have us make the package with make package -si. So you're going to go ahead and type that in, hit enter. Now this might take a minute, but it shouldn't take too long. We're going to go ahead and install this. Now we're going to install, and we're installed. So we can go ahead and, for the final time, only and final time, click out of Falcon. Now what we're going to do, we're going to do a yay -S, just like you would do with pacman, but we don't use sudo. Then you're going to do a brave -bin, hit enter. Go ahead and hit A, then hit N, and that's telling it to install all packages that you asked to be installed, and it's showing you none of the differences between if you have different versions. You can look at the differences if you want to. You don't need to. It's only if you're curious. And then go ahead and hit enter. And this is going to install a much nicer web browser, and we will never have to use Falcon again. In fact, while that's doing its thing, I'm going to go ahead and unpin that from task menu, because I just don't even want to look at it. And also, we did all of that customization, and I just screwed it up. Oh, dear. Yeah. Yep. I'm gonna go ahead and just re-add that default panel back. Ignore I did any of that. We're going to enter edit mode again. And then position, we're going to go ahead and click on. Again, you don't need to do that. That's just my preference. I much prefer the taskbar on the top versus the bottom. And this might take a little bit longer than Yay took, just because this is a web browser and web browsers are pretty big. But it shouldn't take too long. And it's going to be the same process basically as installing a normal package through Pacman now. The only thing that's really different is you don't use sudo and the A and N section at the beginning, the two questions that it asks you when you first install. But what Yay is doing is it's pulling from the Arch user repository, which is one of the great reasons why you use Arch. There are so many wonderful projects. It's impressive. Some of the stuff that people have come up with, it's just jaw-dropping. But anyways, I digress. We're going to go ahead and continue with the installation here. And that's done. So I'm going to go ahead and exit without a C. And I'm going to type in Brave. And I'm going to go ahead and pin this to my task manager. So much better. Oh, this is wonderful. We're going to set this as our default browser. We're going to go ahead and do dark mode. Maybe later. ... We're going to go finish. Now, I like to go ahead and come into settings. And the first thing I like to do is I like home buttons. Because, whoops. Home buttons. And I like wide address bars and to always see the full URL. And underneath privacy and security, I like to set to delete everything on exit. Now, do not do this if you don't care about security. I only do this for security reasons. If you do this, it's not going to save logins. It won't remember your history. Everything is going to be deleted. It'll be like a brand new installation of this browser every time you open it, except for your appearance settings and your like personal settings and stuff. That's not going to change. It's just not going to remember your browsing habits. And then I'm going to set my search engines for DuckDuckGo because that's my preference. You can set to whatever you want to. That is all on you. And that is Brave set up. Now we have a much better web browser in place. We can go to places like YouTube. We can do whatever we need to do. Things are wonderful, things are dandy, and we are having a great time. And now it's time for the piece de resistance. Now that you have your actual desktop environment looking the way you want, you can open up menus, and it looks, look how much different it looks already. Oh my, I forgot the actual background, which I don't need that menu for. We can actually just right click, configure desktop and wallpaper. And I'm going to go ahead and add picture. Why is my image file not showing? We're going to go download it again. That's kind of cool. We'll save this one. Now, hopefully it saved the other one maybe under a different format or something. Yeah, there we go. Much better. All right, now let's log out. See what our screen looks like, our login screen. And yes, it did save the picture. Look at that. That is so much better than the default SDDM login screen. All right, log back in here. And this is our splash screen, which it didn't take very long, but there we go. Now we have a nice base to work off of to install Hyperland. We have something comfortable that we can enjoy using, and it will suit our needs and our flow. So this is where I'm going to end this episode today. Thank you for watching, and catch me on the next one, if I can get free again.